Hi folks, good afternoon. Thanks for joining me. Thanks to the folks from DDN for having us here as well. I'm Binay Ackalloor, I'm from Intel, and I'll be talking about the combination of the Gaudi AI accelerator servers along with the DDN storage systems to create a storage appliance. Okay, let me switch through that. So in terms of AI augmented HPC, you probably all heard about this, right? You can use AI to generate simulation data that you can run HPC simulations. You can take the output data from your simulations. You can use AI to analyze it. So those are just a couple of common usages, but there's a lot more that are coming. So definitely the trend is to do a lot more AI along with HPC. And the consequences of this is that you're going to have more data to deal with, and you need more compute as well. And the other part of it is you need more storage. And so Intel and DDN are collaborating to meet this demand. Okay, and that's what we'll go over in the next 10 to 12 minutes or so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the Gaudi2 AI accelerator, then talk about the system, actually the servers, then the systems, and we'll talk a little bit about the software and go from there. Okay, so in terms of the Intel Gaudi2 AI accelerator, it's purpose-built for deep learning acceleration at scale. We've run experiments up to several hundred GPUs where we've used Gaudi2 to really run these large language models. In terms of let me walk through each of these areas. Proven performance is the only alternative to H100 for LLM compute per ML perf. And so ML perf, a couple of times a year, you submit your data. Gaudi2 and the H100 were the only submissions on the AI accelerated GPU side. And in terms of our performance, Gaudi2 with the FP8 doubled the GPT-3 training speed and delivered fast inference within 9% of the H100. And this was based on the H100 data that was submitted as part of the MLPerf. And so in terms of price performance, our training and inference results, Gaudi2 price performance is better than the H100. And it's approximately twice the price performance relative to the A100 based on Hugging Face evaluations. Now, another big part of AI is also about scalability, right? And we've shown 95% linear scaling on MLPerf GPT-3 training benchmark. We've gone from 256 GPUs to 384, and we've shown this linear scaling. And you can actually access Gaudi2 clusters on the Intel Developer Cloud. We'll talk about that at the end. I've got some more information I'd like to share with you. As a matter of fact, I keep this handy to talk about it. And finally, in terms of the ease of use, Gaudi has its own software stack called Synapse, where the software is optimized for deep learning training and inference. And we worked with PyTorch, Hugging Face, Optimum Library to really optimize these models to run well on Gaudi2. And then here is a few of the technical specs. It's based on the 7-nanometer process technology, has 24 TPUs, 96 gig HBM2, SRAM, and Ethernet port. And we'll talk a little bit about these as well coming up. Okay. And in terms of questions, if you have a question, feel free to ask me. I know, I think we have only about 10 or so minutes, but if you've got a quick question, feel free to ask me. Otherwise, I'll be around here for a few minutes after as well. Okay, so let's look at the architecture of the Gaudi2. And it's a heterogeneous compute engine with 24 TPUs and dual matrix multiplication engines. As many of you know, for deep learning, especially for training and also for inference, there's a lot of matrix addition and multiplication. And so that's what you use the TPCs and the matrix multiplication engines for. We also have a software managed memory architecture because we have different levels of memory here. We have 96 gig of HBM2, so high bandwidth memory, along with 48 meg of SRAM and local memory. And you can see the way it's partitioned here. The 16 gigs, we've got 6 stacks, that gives you the 90. The other key factor about this I'd like to call out is the media engine. And the media engine really makes a lot of sense if you also want to do visual workloads for that, so if you're doing visual compute, for instance, if you're doing transcoding along with AI, those are the areas where the media engine can really play a big part. And that's something nobody else has in this product as well. And then the other key thing about this is in terms of scale up and scale out, we have these 2400 gig ports with Rocky. And so that really helps with the connectivity. The nice thing about this is it's based on Ethernet, so it's a well-known standard. And because this is integrated into the part, it also lowers the cost. You don't need to have the additional NICs external to this. Okay. Okay, so we talked about the Gaudi2 itself. Now let's talk about the architecture in an eight accelerator server. So we have 8 Habana Gaudi2s in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then of course 4 on the other side. So in terms of the connectivity between the Gaudi2s, we use these 24 ports that I talked about. So you use 21 of those 24 to connect to the other 7. So each of these connects to the other 7 through 21 of those 24 ports. The remaining 3 go through these QSFPs. So those goes to external servers and external racks. So that's how you can get the scale out. So within the server, you use the 21 ports to get your scale out, and then external you go for the scale out, sorry. And then you've got the PCIe switches. So this is the PCI connections that connect to your host CPU. So in this case, we have the Intel Xeon host. I think those are the key things. Let's see. Okay. I think I covered everything here. So now let's look at the server itself. So this is the Supermicro server. And if you want to take a look at it, it's actually over there in the Supermicro booth. So you can go and take a look there. It's the Supermicro Intel Gaudi AI training server. This is the model number, but like I said, it's over there, so you can go see it. It features 8 of these accelerators within it, the 2400 gig ports 100 gig Ethernet ports that we talked about. And I think you can, and it's in production. So it's ready to go right now. And then in terms of the combination with the storage, DDN storage server, this is what makes it a storage appliance. You've got the DDN AI 400X2 storage system, and it's a scalable architecture. So the advantage of the storage system together with the AI is it really gives you the storage to handle these large data sets and the large models. So that's really the benefit of this. So what DDN does is provision their storage to ensure there's adequate storage based on the number of GPUs that you have. And I'll talk about that a little bit in the next slide. It's a scalable architecture. We'll show you a picture, 1, 2, and 4 servers, augments AI capacity and performance, and it's delivered and supported globally by data experts. Okay. And here's a link for it as well. Here are a few examples of the server configuration. So you can have one server with 8 Gaudi2s. You can have 2, so that's 16 Gaudi2s, or you can have 4 with 32. And then, of course, you have the storage as well. You can scale this, again, depending on the number of GPUs. The one that we mentioned here, the DDN A400 medium and large scale, is adequate to handle this. The DDN storage servers are really provisioned for high-speed read, high-speed write, and so they can take care of the GPUs in here. Oh, sorry, not the GPUs, the Gaudi2s. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about the software and ecosystem, because this is a really important thing when you work in AI, right? The models are complex. There's a lot of them that come out every few weeks, it seems like. So this is the Synapse AI software stack for the Gaudi family of AI accelerators. So you've got the embedded tools, the programming toolkit, and what we call out is the hardware agnostic components, the hardware specific components, that's this embedded software, and then the external pieces that are not part of the Synapse software suite, but which you need, the BMC onboard, the custom kernel library, and so on. And what we've been doing is working with the ecosystem. So we work with the folks, PyTorch, TensorFlow, Hugging Face, and so on, to make sure these models are really work well on Gaudi and Gaudi family of products. And finally over here, I'll have a little bit more on this in the next slide. But over here, the other important thing is, for somebody who's starting today and developing a model and working with the Synapse AI stack, it's not a problem, right? But one of the questions we often get is, well, I've already got a model that I delivered, or I created on PyTorch and it's got a little bit of proprietary code in there. What do I do? And we really have a system where with just 4 lines of code, and it could be 2 lines in some cases, you can modify it to run on Gaudi2. So that's all you need is just, like 4 lines of code. And you can go over the Intel booth and get more information on that. But fundamentally, it's, what we do is we import a library and then we look at the functions in that particular model and we place it with equivalent functions that were built for Gaudi2. So that's fundamentally it. And it's a very easy process that you can do. Okay. My next to last slide here just shows our progress on developing models on the Gaudi2 and porting the models across. So it took us less than 6 months to have inference on a 100 billion plus parameter large language model. And then it took us less than 12 months to do large scale training on a 100 billion plus parameter large language model. So you can see the progress. We started around July 22nd with the BERT 1.5 billion. We've gone through, we've added Stable Diffusion, we've added Bloom 13 billion 176. And then, of course, through MLPerf, we've added some additional models as well. We've got a whole set of models. They're available on Hugging Face. So, certainly I encourage you to try it out. And with that said, I think one of the first things I would highly encourage you to do is go over to the Intel booth. Intel, there's a number of workshops. I think we have about 4 today, 2 may be already done. There's another couple coming up. You can also get $150 in credits to try this out on the Intel Developer Cloud. And you can pick up these pamphlets. They have the schedule of these developer workshops. So you can go ahead and just find the time that works for you. And we'll have workshops tomorrow and Thursday as well. So please take advantage of that. Regarding the Gaudi2 servers, as I said, Supermicro has these servers on display. So feel free to go over there, talk to them, find out more about it. And then, of course, again, a big thank you to our hosts here at DDN. I think their storage server they talk about over there, so you can contact them as well. Okay.